In this video we will be creating dog paw and cat paw tree ornaments complete with glitter infill shown from start to finish using Lightburn. If you are enjoying my videos and find them in any way helpful, please like and subscribe. This helps me out a great deal and will enable me to create more videos for you. Firstly, we'll just go through the basic tree ornament creation and then add the niceties afterwards. If you have watched any of my previous videos, you know what most of these functions are for now. So for the most part in this video, which is a little bit longer than some, I will sit back mostly and let the visuals do the talking. The exception may be if we come across something I haven't previously shown, and then I will of course interject. Showing the different options in the Boolean assistant here, but we will in this case go for the first option. Making a duplicate here for the cat paw ornament after I finished with the dog paw ornament. These are two freely available images of a dog paw and a cat paw. They are slightly different. I converted them by tracing rather than try to use an image. Pretty much every time you drag something into the center of a circle, it will snap to the center anyway, but I always get into the habit of checking with the centering tools to make sure they're perfectly aligned, rather than take a chance and it not be, and finding out later on. Let me know in the comments what you think about those little keyboards I pop up to show what keys to press. If they're helpful, let me know. We'll just do the cat paw now. It's a recreation of the same technique I used on the dog paw, so it speaks for itself really. When you're dragging these things about, don't forget to select all the elements, which I didn't do there. So just undo and select them all, and then you can drag the whole thing. Just doing the names now. Butte for my dog and Pepper for my cat. Change to the same layer colour as the paw print, and as you can see, when it's dragged onto the paw print it turns white. This means that won't be touched by the laser. The paw print will be burned away and it will leave the name standing up above the glitter fill. Already snapped to the centre, but I still habitually check with the centering tools to make sure they're perfectly aligned. Using the down arrow on the keyboard here just to nudge the name down a little bit. Okay, changing all of the inner lines to the blue layer so I can separate them from the outside cut layer, which will be the red line. This means all the inner parts will cut out first, after the engraving is done obviously, and then finally the outer line will be cut and everything will be fine. If you don't do this, all kinds of mishaps can happen, with pieces dropping out before you engrave them, etc, etc. So it's always best to do this, and also change the order of your cut, so the engrave will be done first, then the blue line for the inner, then finally the red line. I'm changing the power settings here for the cuts and the engraving, and this will totally depend on your particular laser, what you're happy with, cutting settings and engraving settings. You want the engrave to be slightly deep to take the glitter, but not too deep on 3mm plywood or you'll just burn all the way through it, so be careful there. So again, depends on your materials and it depends on your particular laser's power. This is what it will cut like, cut order. So as you can see, it's going to burn the paw prints, which is what you want. This will then be followed by all of the inner shapes which you want to be cut away before you take the whole thing out of the sheet of plywood, including the center of the hole where you're going to put your ribbon through or whatever it is you're going to use to hang them. You want that to be cut out first, not try to be cut out once the whole thing's fallen out of the plywood. Speed it up a little bit. In the next section I'm going to show a little bit of boring actual cutting on the laser. I promise it won't be too long. Bear with me. Once we get through that small section we will be at the stage where we fill with glitter. I don't bother sanding the front after I've done this, and because I'm going to be sanding it after the glitter's put in anyway, I just sand the back just to get any burn or scorch marks off. And like I've said, do the front later. So here we are at the laser. It won't last too long this, and I have sped it up a little bit. This particular laser is my 2 Trees TS2 10-watt diode laser with autofocus. The Z-axis is absolutely marvellous on this. I can get it to automatically change its height to do a cut, and then change its height again to do an engrave. It's really a game changer, and I tend to use this machine now rather than my Sculpfun S10. It's a much better machine. You can see what I mean now about cutting the inner shapes out first. If you were to cut the outer shape out first and then try to cut the rest, it would be a total disaster, especially if it fell through. Anyway, we're coming to an end of this section. So the next section will be filling with glitter. This is shop bought glitter glue. It was very cheap. I got it from Home Bargains, I believe it was. This is in the UK, and it's marvellous. It dries, soaks right into the wood, dries completely, leaving a super hard glitter surface behind, which would be hard pressed to remove, but I usually clear coat afterwards anyway. It really is good stuff. Using a little stick here to make sure it covers everywhere I want to cover. It doesn't matter if you actually get some on the outside, because there's a sanding process after it all sets to take any glitter away that is where it shouldn't be, such as on the top of the names, and that might have spilled over the edges. A quick sand, you take it all away, you'll see the result at the end. You can speed up the drying process for this glue using a hairdryer or a heat gun, gentle heat. I don't really recommend it because you get a far better result if you let it dry naturally, but unfortunately this stuff can take quite a while to dry depending on how thick you've put it. I will show using a hairdryer just for a couple of minutes just to start the setting process off really, but I do leave them to dry naturally. It's a much better result. Put a little too much in that other part there, so I'll just steal some of it for here. It's not really important. It does sink all the way in. It stands up high and proud above the work when you first put it in, which is what you want really, because it will settle in. Anyway, I'll speed the rest of this this little section up just so it doesn't bore you too much. We're almost done now. Like I said earlier, I will show the hairdryer in use for just a few seconds, but I do recommend you let it dry naturally. Much better result in the end. Okay, the finished piece, sanded. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps a great deal. Thanks for watching.